Okay, so this is the main part of the field. As you can see, you might not be able to make out in the video, but there's sort of furrows, field and furrow type drainage in it. So it's quite an old piece of land in regards to, you know, not being managed in sort of modern farmer methods. I'm unsure if there's any pots in it for drainage already. I don't think there are. So I'll just walk over, and so you'll see two Labradors. That's Luna, she's the old one. And there's Mabel running amok. She's the young one. But you might be able to see here how boggy it is and the lay of the land. It's not like a dip. And then over here is exactly the same. And within this part of the field, there's actually 4 of those sort of arrangements. And I do want to sort of mould them out and put a field drain in, because what you've got halfway down the field is this ditch arrangement, which at some point would have probably been working. It's hard to see really now it's actually doing anything, and apologies about the sun in the background because that's not really helping. This is the other side. About, like I say, about 3 years ago we did actually dig this out. I mean, you can see a lot of water standing in it, and put these little culverts in. And there's a drainage pipe, sorry, there's actually a proper flowing pipe running through that, but I think when we did it, there's not the fall, we didn't get the fall on it right. We didn't own the land then, so it's like anything, you do as little as you can, because you know you don't want the time and the expenditure to do things right. But we've got to get it right this time, because if we don't, we've almost bought a bog. So here you can see it runs into the boundary ditch, and that's always flowing, that never dries out. I mean, even the hottest summer it's spring fed. One thing about the field, like I said, it's got some really ancient hedging, and you can see that the way it's these hawthorns, and I think there's an apple there, and how they've sprouted up. And essentially I don't want to take those away. I don't really want to cut them down. I mean, ideally I'd lay them, but it's almost like they're too big to lay now. But yeah, it'd be a waste to sort of disintegrate those, because there's a lot of heritage in there, a lot of wildlife. Bottom half of the field, started doing a bit of clearance work there, and you can see you know, there's little piles of bonfire brush ready to burn when it dries out a bit. We can put our Christmas tree there, look, so we can get rid of that at the same time. This bit has actually been used quite often. Last summer, we can see the electric fence there for all my horses. But you can see in the bottom corner there, and on this side, the amount of willow and blackthorn that's encroached into half the field. So that's a mini digger job, and to clear that back and, you know, get the field looking something like rectangular rather than triangular, which it is at the moment. Nice ash tree in the centre there. Unfortunately, that looks like some of the limbs are starting to die on it, because we do get in high wind, some of them do fall off, but it's half green, so it's not totally dead yet. But I would suggest in the next sort of 10 years it'll be over. And then that is a brief outline of the field. It's just, like I say, it's just short of 3 acres, and it's surrounded on either side by a public footpath, which, to be fair, is quite quiet normally, just people in the village using it. So the best thing I can say about today, or what I'm going to try and do, is get this flowing a bit better. As you can see, there's a lot of standing water in this ditch. And also this one. Mabel, come here. So if we look at what I've got for tools, got a little spade there, got a rake. I've seen better days, but it still does the job. Some grass cutters. I'm actually going to buy a petrol powered scythe, which I think will be just the ticket for this type of marshy ground. Got a little small husky. Mattock, new purchase, which should be good for the roots. Bill hook, which seen some use doing hedges, and this bad boy, which some of you may recognise as a golok machete British Army issue, which I have recently purchased, more for nostalgic reasons, because I used to have one when I was in the army in the jungles of Belize, but also razor sharp, not a bad little chopping blade on it, and it's good for memories, good for the soul, I suppose, and good for chopping down the brush which the billhook won't take up. We used to call them tree beaters. Shave the or file the shoulders down on the blades to get them a little bit narrower, so they used to help chop through vegetation better. You see there's actually a blade, there's actually quite a big shoulder on that, but I'm not going to bother on this one. I'm not going to be chopping through any type of South American vegetation, although UK vegetation, brambles etc is probably worse. Anyway, you can see I've done a few adjustments on the scabbard there, mainly to keep it a little bit tighter and keep the filing. This is the other side of the drain of the ditch. You can see it would have one bit flowed that way, and all it is now is stagnant stud water, so I've got no chance of draining the actual field with this not flowing. I looked at the old drainage maps. It used to actually run down that side of the field, and you can actually see the ditch, which is now level really with the ground, but you can make out where it would have been, and it's not been dug out. So that's one of the tasks for this year, and see if we can get this bit of land draining to what is at the north, and this bit of land draining to what is the south. So all this provides is a stagnant water puddle for Labradors to lay in.